Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special briefing organized by the Jerusalem Press Club in coordination with the Hostages and Missing Families Forum. My name is Matthias Akal, and I'm the project manager at the Jerusalem Press Club. As the latest phase of the hostage deal unfolds, many families continue to endure the agony of having their loved ones held captive by Hamas in Gaza. Today, we have the opportunity to hear from 4 of these families. Before we begin, we ask for your patience as we promote the families to panelists, allowing them to share their stories with us. This process will take just a moment. Joining us here are Vickey Cohen, mother of Nimrod Cohen, Herut Nimrodi, mother of Tamir Nimrodi, Dalia Cusnir, sister-in-law of Iair and Eitan Horn, and Udi Goren, cousin of Tal Haimi, who will join us in a few minutes. Each of our speakers will have 5 minutes to share their personal thoughts. Afterwards, we will open the floor for questions from journalists. So you may submit your questions in the Q&A box, and we will try to ask them all. Herut, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you crystal
Okay.
clear. Oh, okay. We're gonna start with you. Please, you have 5 minutes to share your thoughts, your feelings.
You want me to share my story or
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my name is Herut and I'm Tamir's mother. Tamir is an IDF soldier.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you turn on your camera?
Just 1 second. Let me see.
Yes. Okay, just so we can see.
I can't see where. 1 second.
Okay. In the meantime, if you want to keep start telling your story.
Yes, I don't know why can't I have the camera on. 1 second.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. We
Okay,
can.
okay.
Yeah,
So,
it's okay. We can move forward.
okay,
Yeah.
so my son was taken when he was only 18 years old. He was part of Kogat, which is a special unit in the army who take care of the humanitarian issues of the Palestinians in Gaza. So he was set on the northern border of Gaza that morning. He was not a combat soldier. He was an education officer. And I got a chance to text him that morning. I had no idea that something was going on, and I asked him to take good care of himself and text me whenever he can. And those were the last words between us. It was 6:49 in the morning. And little did he know that when he was texting me, the Hamas terrorists were already inside his base. And 20 minutes after he texted me, he was brutally kidnapped. We had no idea. We found out around 4 o'clock that Saturday when my youngest daughter, she was 14 at the time, she came screaming to me that she's seeing her brother being abducted over the Instagram. And she came to me with this horrific video where I saw my son being beaten up, and he was hiding his face. He was in his pajamas. He was barefoot. He had no glasses on, and he was terrified. And that's when I knew my life had changed. The last footage of him was of him being led by force through the concrete walls into Gaza. He was put on a jeep with 2 other boys, and they drove away. And this is the last footage I have of my son. And since then, we've been fighting for information, for keeping this issue in the media, in the public eyes, not only in Israel, but also abroad. As you know, some of the hostages have already been released. And we are now at a critical point where we have the first phase of the deal, hoping really, finger crossed, that we will reach the end of this phase. But we are really concerned that if the next stage will even start. We know they're supposed to start to discuss about the details of the next stage, and this is where we are right now. And we need to pressure and to make sure that it will be the main issue now. We've heard President Trump, and we are thankful that he prioritized this issue when he only started office, and even before, he made sure that the first stage will start, even though it has been months that nothing moved. And we really appreciate it, and we want to give him strength to continue in this path and help us, that this will become, that this will snowball, and we will see the next hostages coming back. We have.
Okay, you are muted, Herut. Anyway, thank you for sharing Tamir's stories and your feelings, your thoughts. Herut, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, we can see you now. Yeah. So would you like to elaborate a little bit on the story that you were telling us, your feelings, your thoughts?
Yes. I know that they've started to discuss about the day after, but what will happen in Gaza afterwards. But we really want to make sure that before anything will be settled or discussed, we should discuss the more important issue, because hostages won't survive long. We've seen the last Saturday 3 of the men that were released, and their situation, the physical situation, was not good. And we're really worried about the young boys that are going to remain afterwards. So we really need to address this issue as soon as possible. We want to see our children back home.
Yes, yes. I completely understand. I think Vicky is back with us. Sorry, Herut. We are gonna see if Vicky can share with us her feelings. Vicky, can you hear me now? Oh, it seems she's having a problem, a technical issue. So I will continue with you, Herut. President Trump, you mentioned President Trump. He has stated that the U.S. is willing to take control of Gaza and temporarily relocate Palestinians to other countries. Do you believe such a move could impact efforts to secure the release of the remaining hostages? Have you had any contact with the U.S. officials regarding this issue?
No, I don't have any contact with official about this issue, specific issue. I had no contact. We're still thinking what does it mean? But as I said, before we even discuss what it will be in the next stage, we should finish this deal and make sure that the hostages are back safely home. After that, they can discuss whatever they believe is right. You know, I'm not a politician. I don't know what is the right thing to do. I don't see all the picture. But from my point of view, we should really make sure that first of all the hostages are coming back from this. From the Gaza Strip before we start to do anything else that can risk their lives.
And what your role regarding this that you're mentioning? What role do you see for the international community in pressuring for the release of the remaining hostages? Have you had any contact with the foreign governments or international organizations?
Tamir has a German passport, so we're always in touch with the ambassador here in Israel. We have been in Germany a few times, also through that year, and I know that Germany is putting a lot of pressure on the mediators to get Hamas to the table. But as we have seen since Trump has been elected, something has changed in Hamas and in the Israeli government. And as we have seen, they have created a first stage of the deal. The Germans are very committed to this issue, not only for their own hostages, but for the entire group. And we are going from time to time to abroad to speak we're going on delegations to speak with presidents and other influencers in each country. And we have to have this issue on the table all the time, that nobody will normalize this situation, that hostages can be held in Gaza. We have to make sure that the press won't stop talking about it, and hopefully we will reach the next stage, so our children will be back home.
Okay. Regarding the hostage deal itself and the negotiation, have Israeli officials given you any indication about what may come next for the remaining hostages regarding the next phase?
They're not talking about it yet because nothing is finalized yet. So maybe it's better that it's been in closed doors, that nobody can know the details, and maybe they can achieve more that way. So of course we're really stressed to hear what is going to be next. You know, in 2 days, another 3 hostages are going to be released, and we don't know who they are, and all the families there is really a big tension to see who they are, what are the conditions, the physical condition, the psychological condition of those hostages. And we know that some of the 33 hostages are not alive, and it's going to be a very hard month to go through. And
Indeed.
each time to have only 3 hostages, it's really tearing us apart. But there's no anything else we can do. We can only pressure our government and speak with the public, and hopefully this issue will be solved soon.
Well, we all hope that. Herut, thank you very much. Dalia Cusnir is with us here. We're gonna give you hi, hello Dalia.
Hi,
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I mean, you will have a few minutes to tell the stories of Eitan and Iair. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone, for joining and listening. So I'm going to tell you the story of my two brothers-in-law. I don't know if you see the picture. This is Iair and this is Eitan. They are three siblings. I'm married to the one in the middle, which you cannot see in the picture. His name is Amos. The three of them born and raised in Argentina. They moved to Israel when they finished high school because of Zionism and thinking that Israel is their place, a safe place. The two of them are amazing people. Iair works in maintenance in a small community on the border with Gaza, less than 2 miles. It's called Kibbutz Nir Oz. He's been living there for, I think, more than 10 years already. He's in charge of the community culture, holidays, local pub, etc. He's very integrated into the community. And Eitan is a non-formal educator. He worked with teens at risk, different communities in Israel. He was a Jewish agency emissary to Peru, many others. He worked with refugees, teens refugees that were brought from Ukraine when the war between Russia and Ukraine started. So he's very dedicated to education and promoting a better world. On October 7th, Eitan, who lives in the center of Israel, was visiting his brother, Iair, on that small community, Kibbutz Nir Oz. And actually, we don't know much from what happened that morning because from 6:30 we started talking with them when we woke up in the center of Israel as well from the sirens. They kept saying that they're staying together at the safe room and everything's okay. They never mentioned terrorists or nor nothing that was going on the ground of this small community that later on we learned that was looted with more than 1,000 of terrorists in 3 waves. The last message we got from them was at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, and it said that they're still waiting at the safe room and everything is okay. Then they stopped answering. We just didn't know what happened to them. We went over all those horrible videos on the media and everything. To make a long story short, we just learned on November 25th last year from the women that were liberated at the hostage deal last year. They came back and they told us that both of them are alive, that both of them are not injured. They spoke about horrible conditions, starvation, violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, whatever you can imagine or whatever you heard over these past 489 days. But we learned from them that they are alive. According to today, I know that they are alive, but according to the Israeli army, they are considered to be among the hostages that are alive. And Iair is included in the list, the famous list of the 33 hostages to come back during the first phase. We don't know exactly why. We believe that it is because he has diabetes, which makes him humanitarian. Eitan is not on that list. He's going to be at the second phase. And I want to say that Eitan suffers from a severe skin disease that can get infected and complicated. And before the war, twice he had to go for emergency surgeries because of that disease. So I cannot even imagine to myself what he's going through in the worst hygiene conditions and humidity, which is exactly what brings this disease to get worse. We understand that all the hostages are humanitarian. After so many days, everyone, including everyone, and everyone should be brought back. And I want to say that as a family member who's been fighting for them, for all the hostages for the past 15 months, going all around the world from, the US government, the former one and the new one, Europe, we have a very close contact to the Argentinian government because Iair and Eitan are Argentinian, and so are others which are still held hostages. We've been doing everything. We're very afraid that this agreement, this ceasefire, is going to collapse in any day because we understand that Israel is negotiating with Hamas at the end, and we all know what Hamas has done on October 7th and what they are doing since then. And this is why I want to thank all the people on this webinar, because we need all the press and communication worldwide to keep this issue top priority all the time. We, the families, understand that having 79 hostages right now, which, as I mentioned, Iair and Eitan are Argentinian Israelis, and Tamir is from Germany. It has a German passport, as Herut just mentions, and we have citizens from Thai and Nepal and Tanzania and all around the world. This is a humanitarian issue that should be a concern of everyone, because Hamas has abducted these people, but they also said on October 7th and since then that their intentions is to go to Europe as well and the United States. So we understand that this is not only an Israeli fight and struggle, and we just need you. We need you to help us to keep talking about them until all of them are back home.
Dalia, thank you very much for sharing your stories, your thoughts with us. I'm gonna pass to Vicky. Vickey Cohen is now ready, and we are gonna give a few minutes afterwards for questions. If you journalists have a few questions, please send it via chat or using the Q&A box. Vicky, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We cannot see you. Can you turn on your camera?
I don't have a camera.
Okay. So we can listen to you. Okay.
Okay. So my name is Vickey Cohen, and I'm the mother of Nimrod Cohen. Nimrod is 20 years old. He's a soldier, and on October 7, he was kidnapped together with his team in the tank. We know that all the members of the team were killed, and Nimrod is the only survivor of the attack. On that Saturday, their tank was near the border. They were protecting, not attacking. They were protecting the border, Israel and us, the citizens. But when a massive amount of terrorists enter Israel, and there was a technical problem with the tank, so it drove very slowly, and in this way, the terrorist could attach a bomb to the tank and took control of the tank. They started to lit a fire under the tank, so the smoke entered inside. And we heard also from the hearing calls that they could not breathe, and they didn't have a choice but to open the door of the tank, and in this way the terrorists took them out from the tank. We knew that Nimrod was kidnapped from the video that was released on that day, on Saturday noontime, the video that Hamas released. But the officially announcement we got only on Sunday at midnight, when officers came to our house and tell us officially that Nimrod was kidnapped. We got a sign of life from the kidnap who came back from the first deal. They saw him and he was not injured, he was okay. And during the time also we got a sign of life of him. And we know, we have a belief that he is still alive, but he's so many days in the captivity, 489 days. You can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. We can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. And we are worried about him, and we know that he's not going to come back in the first phase of the deal, only on the second. And the deal is so fragile, and we are worried that it will collapse. We want you to help us to pressure both sides, Hamas and our government, to finish the deal and bring all the hostages, the alive one and the dead, to be buried in Israel. And we must do it as soon as possible. They don't have time. And we saw, all of us, the picture that the families holding their loved ones that came back from captivity. And I want to be also in this position. I'm the mother of Nimrod. I want to hold him. Our life changed from October 7, and we want to get back to our regular life. We are very private family, and we have to do everything we can to fight and do everything that Nimrod will come back home. So we need your help.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicky, for sharing your thoughts with us. Udi is here with us. Udi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Here I
Thank
am.
you. Thank you, Udi, for being with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about Tal? Share your thoughts, your feelings.
Sure. Tal was a member of Kibbutz Nir Yitzchak. Our mutual grandparents are among the founders of the kibbutz. So Tal was born there, was raised there, chose to raise his family there, and was eventually killed on October 7th on the grounds of the kibbutz. His body was kidnapped to Gaza that same day. It took some time until we've learned what happened to him. As that same day, his family, his immediate family, his wife and kids, were in the safe room in their home that didn't even close because the hinge was broken. Nobody had ever thought that they would actually have to lock the door to defend themselves from people trying to get into their home. Luckily, nobody got to Tal's family's home. However, the terrorists did get to his father's home, to his uncle's home, and they had to hold on to the door handle of their safe room, literally holding on for their dear lives as terrorists on the outside were trying to pry it open. Nir Yitzchak was eventually evacuated within about 24 hours, and Tal wasn't accounted for. However, that same evening, we've learned that his phone was traced to Gaza, and since he wasn't found anywhere, we've just assumed that the person went along with the phone. It took, I think, over 2 or 3 weeks until the IDF was finally able to confirm that Tal was actually taken. We didn't know for a while whether or not he was dead or alive. Actually, we didn't even know if he was a hostage or not, because on the early days of October 7th, there was extreme chaos, and it took some time until the list of people that weren't accounted for was brought down, and most people were found, or at least confirmed, of where they were. The long list of missing persons, that there were hundreds of them on October 7th. About 2 months it took until the IDF confirmed that Tal was actually murdered on October 7th. And, after the immediate shock of realizing that Tal will not be back to recuperate and be back to his family in Israel, He will never see his son that was born 6 months after October 7th. On October 7th, his wife, Ella, was 2 months pregnant. And he will never get to hold his orphan son. But yet it was very, very obvious to us that our struggle remains exactly the same. Tal has to be back on the grounds of the kibbutz and to find his final resting place in the same kibbutz where our grandparents founded, where he lived, where he raised his family, and where he found his death. These are excruciating days for the family, of course, mainly for the immediate family, and most of all for his children. Because of the many tragedies that has happened on this war, there has been set a precedent, and we were actually able to. The precedent wasn't established for us, but because of the precedent that was set, we were able to actually have a funeral service, even though Tal's body was not retrieved, because there were some biological remains that helped to confirm his death. So Tal's children actually attended their dad's funeral, fully knowing that their dad is not in the coffin that was being put underground. And this is something that his children are 10 and 8 and now an infant. It's almost impossible for them to get over the fact that they keep asking how do people say dad is dead if nobody had seen him, and bringing him back for burial in Israel is absolutely essential for us to find a closure, to have some kind of solace, at least knowing that we can move on from this period of our lives that were completely put on hold on October 7th, and start rebuilding our lives, going back to normalcy as much as possible. And obviously, this goes through bringing back every single hostage, all 79 of them. And what I would conclude with is that we're not the only ones that deserve closure and solace. I personally, my family, take absolutely no pleasure in seeing the destruction on the other side. We know that there are people that suffer on the other side. We know that there are civilians that have paid a great toll. And it doesn't matter who you affiliate with, or who you find yourself supportive of, be it the Israelis or be it the Palestinians. Everybody would be able to stop the violence, rebuild, and move on to the next phase of their lives once all the hostages are back. This is the first domino stone that would set on course the process of finding some to give the Israeli society a chance to heal, and to give the Gazans a pause from the violence and a chance to rebuild and a chance to heal themselves. That's it. Thank you.
Udi, thank you very much for sharing your feelings, your thoughts. We're gonna move to the questions asked by the journalists. They are asking us, you can take it, Udi or Herut or Vicky. Do you believe that, are you afraid that Trump may complicate the negotiation for a second phase, considering that Hamas may be less willing to let hostages go if the future of Gaza will be the expulsion of the Palestinian and the US takeover?
Sure, I'll be happy to take it.
Yeah.
First of all, we have seen throughout this period that the American administration has been fully committed, and it doesn't matter if it were the Biden administration or the Trump administration, fully committed to bringing back all the hostages. They've said it out loud many, many times. And even though we, Israelis, the international community may have criticism over the way it has been implemented, still, I feel there is no doubt in their efforts and their willingness to bring back all of them. As far as Trump's plan, or I would say as far as Trump's declaration, we are all family members. You know, we're not politicians, neither are we tacticians, neither are we diplomats. And what all we are saying is that we want our loved ones back. And as we've seen their commitment, I want to believe, and I choose to believe, that there is something behind it, maybe not on face value, that would help us bring all the hostages back. I feel we have to believe this. We've seen as soon as Trump took office, we've seen the deal takes place. It's been stuck for months and months and months, over a year. And as soon as he regained office, we've started seeing hostages coming back, and we can't ignore this. 18 people's lives were already saved. 18 families got their lives back thanks to these efforts. So I want to believe that there is commitment, and perhaps, you know, what we're seeing on face value isn't everything that's being planned.
Thank you, Udi. So we are running out of time, but before ending this briefing, I would like to give the opportunity to Vickey, Herut, or Dalia if you want to add something, a final remark, something that you would like to emphasize, mention. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Can I say something? I would like to add that we need that all hostages will come back not only for us, the families. I'm the family of Nimrod and all the other families, but we need it as a society. The society in Israel cannot rebuild, and they cannot continue their lives without these hostages that will come back. It's obvious, and that's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. So
I wanna
yeah.
add something very short, if I may. I wanna keep going after what Udi just said. I wanna say that we, the families, we are struggling for the past 50 months. I think the biggest fight of our life. I think it's the biggest fight of the Israeli society since the state of Israel was established, and maybe of the free world, you know, because as I said before, this is not only an Israeli Jewish matter; it's a worldwide. So I want to ask all the people in this webinar, as I said before, not only to keep this issue as a top priority all the time, but also to try and do the impossible, which is a bit of a disconnection from all the political noise and everything, and to focus on what's the most important thing, which is saving lives. And when I say saving lives, it's not only the hostages which are still alive, and I'm saying still with the huge fear that I know that any moment one of them can, you know, get killed or something. I'm also talking about saving the life of the Israeli society, because as everyone mentioned before, bringing them back is bringing us, the Israeli society, the ability to start rebuilding and moving forward. So saving lives is not only bringing the living hostages back, it's bringing all of them, all the 79. This is something we should all get committed. And once again, I know it gets involved into politics all the time, but let's try to keep out of this cynical, horrible game. This is human life that we're dealing with, and you have the ability and the influence and the agency to help us achieve this goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia. I want to thank you, Vickey Cohen, Herut Nimrodi, Dalia Cusnir, and Udi Goren for sharing their stories with us today. Your voices serve as a powerful reminder of those still waiting to come home. To the journalists, thank you for being here, and also thanks to my colleague Jonathan Beck for facilitating this call. Also, thank you to Eitan Tigar from the Hostage Families Forum for all the coordinations and make that happen. This briefing happen. Thank you all, and bye.